My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Chances are you've stayed in a hotel once or twice or thrice in your life. Chances are you've thought, if you're a real estate investor, you've thought, hey, this looks like renting by the night might be a better plan than tenants and toilets and landlord tenancy boards and all that kind of stuff. What is there in this hotel investment strategy? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today with our special guest, Micah Haworth, zooming in from beautiful Minnesota. Micah is a real estate entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur in general, buying and businesses, buying hotels, which is a real estate business. And that's what we're going to dial into here today. So, Micah, nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Dave. Great to be on.
My pleasure. So, hey, let's get started. Can you just give us a big picture snapshot of what your business looks like today, especially the real estate side of things?
Yeah, so right now I own two different apartment buildings. One building I don't have a lot of day-to-day interaction with. I had raised some capital for a deal. The first deal I had bought was a 12-unit apartment building down in Iowa. That was like my first big multifamily purchase. Previously, I did a couple single-family flips, but those are now gone. And then the biggest asset I have is a 62-unit hotel, which we just finished all the renovations on it. And so we're kicking off the summer strong with some nice, beautiful new rooms. And so the profits are going up and we're able to get a lot of those reviews turned around, which is one thing we're really excited about.
All right. Are you open to just kind of really digging into this hotel deal?
Oh
And
yeah, let's dig into it. No problem.
Perfect. So first things first, what brought this project onto your radar? Because it's a it's a big change going from flipping single family homes, doing small multifamily properties to buying 62-unit hotel. How did that all come to pass?
Yeah, I first heard about this hotel. I had a friend of mine that I met at a networking event bring this property to me. And so he used to be a broker at Marcus and Millichap. He's not a broker there anymore. Him and his wife had been sent this deal by one of their old friends, and it had been on the market for about 6 months with no movement whatsoever. And then they bring it to me because they had previously purchased several commercial real estate assets, but then they had run out of money. And so I previously raised some capital for that 11-unit deal, which again, very, very minimal. And I wouldn't consider myself an expert syndicator, but I had syndicated a deal and I had spoken to them previously about wanting to raise capital. So like, hey, do you think you could help us raise some money for this deal? I'm like, well, I'm kind of an apartment guy, but I'm willing to take a look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Taking a look at those numbers, you can definitely see there was a major deficit to the market occupancy that we were seeing. So a lot of the hotel brokers will provide this thing called a star report whenever they send out a hotel deal. The star report is basically a market report provided by CoStar. And it takes about 6 different properties in that market and gives you their occupancy, their ADR, which is their average daily rates that they provide. And then that way you can get a good idea of comp shopping properties over the course of an entire year. So it kind of saves you the trouble of having to jump on apartments.com or anything like that. They just give it to you in a nice package. And according to that comp shop, we were able to see that there's a 13% occupancy deficit to the market. And so this property was underperforming the market by 13%. Which in hotels, the occupancy rates are a little different. So this average occupancy rate in this market was 62%.
Well, they're down below 50.
And they were in 48%.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Really had taken a big dive. And we're like, okay, what happened here? And it turns out it was a mom and pop owner, ran it with their parents. They didn't do consistent cleanings. They had no staff other than the 4 of them, all family.
62 rooms.
62 rooms.
Even at 50% occupancy, that's still a lot.
That's still a lot of rooms to take care of.
Yeah.
A lot of rooms to take care of, which we actually bought it as a 58 unit because they were living in the property across several units. So we're able to take the units they were living in and convert them into rentable units. That's how we get the 62 units.
Got it.
But still, yeah, it's like they're running it kind of into the ground. They really weren't taking very good care of it. The reviews were like average of 3-star reviews. And we went and mystery shopped the property before we stayed there. And there was a lot of things we noticed. They just hadn't cleaned behind the dressers. There's dust here, dust there, and even they forgot to clean the toilets between visitations. And so it's like, okay, you know what? If we just come in here and we could just do consistent cleanings, we could probably do a little bit better than
If
this.
we could just do like a mediocre job,
If
we'd
I
be
could do
way,
just like a little
way
bit,
ahead.
10% better, I think we're gonna be all right. And, it's like, and this is me coming from the apartment side of things, but
Yeah.
you know what? It's like I'm not an expert in this field, but man, like I feel like if we just do the bare minimum, we could really make this work. And
Yeah.
then it really sold us that even if we kept the same occupancy rate that they did the previous year, we would have made an 11% cash on cash return.
Wow. So it's still pretty profitable
So
even at this.
they made 400 grand the previous year.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, you know what? We can do this.
Yeah.
And then the exact same week that I had met them, they showed me the deal. I looked at the numbers. We met our fourth partner. His name is Mike Colosimo, and he has been managing hotels for 25 years. And so we first hired him as a property manager because he manages other commercial retail properties.
Yeah.
But then he ended up just becoming kind of hopping on board as a partner and owning the deal with us.
So, okay. So do you mind sharing some of the numbers here with us? So like what was the purchase price?
Mm-hmm.
How much money did you guys have to bring to the table? How much did you raise, if any?
Yep.
Those kind of things. And where is this hotel? You're in Minnesota.
Yep.
Where's the hotel at?
Yeah, a hotel is 2 hours north of the Twin Cities. It's in a
Okay.
small town called Brainerd. It's kind
Okay.
of like one of those vacation markets. So there's a big lake there. There's a lot of tourism there. It's one of those drivable vacation markets. We bought the property for 3.5 million, averaged out to about like 45K a unit.
Mhm.
We raised 1.5 million, and we had a $700,000 down payment. Of that is the down payment. We syndicated it, and so part of that 1.5 was our acquisition fee. Part of it was closing costs, and then part of it was renovations.
Cool. Very,
We
very
were able to get 80% loan to value thanks to a combination of real estate financing and an SBA loan. So it's pretty common in the hotel industry to do this combo loan where you'll find a local SBA preferred lender that also has a real estate component or that they have a real estate appetite. And you'll get a local, essentially, it's called like a loan sponsor from a local bank in town. And then you get the second part of it, which is like an SBA loan. So then
Okay,
that way
cool.
you can still
Well, it
get
makes sense, right? Because it's
yeah,
both. It's real
yeah, it's
estate and
both.
it's business, right? So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what kind of renos did you do on the property to kind of spiff it up?
I almost feel like saying everything, but so we spent, I think it was about a $500,000. So average out to like 9, 10 grand a unit.
Yeah.
We did carpets. We added some LVP flooring in the bathroom area and the entrance area, repainted the place, retextured some of the walls, all new furniture. So all new headboards, dressers, chairs, lighting packages too.
Wow.
And then we also recarpeted all the hallways, repainted the lobby. We top coated the parking lot, restriped
Mhm.
the parking lot, and did some minor concrete patches as well.
Very, very cool. So, Micah, previously, was this like an independent hotel or was it part of a chain or how did
It's a
that kind of
chain,
thing?
it's franchise. So it's
It's a franchise.
American franchise.
I'm sorry?
So it's an American franchise,
Okay.
which is more of a Midwest franchise. It started in Minnesota, but they have 220 locations all across the Midwest, not really on
Interesting.
any of the coasts. But for a Minnesota-based property in like what I would consider like a Minnesota local vacation spot, I thought it
Yeah.
was a very strategic partnership with the franchise because a lot of people understand that it's a Minnesota brand and there's like a lot of pride in that as well.
Yeah.
It was a
So
good brand.
I would imagine they were pretty happy that you guys took this sucker over
Oh yeah.
because they were bringing down the franchise's ratings too.
Oh yeah, it
That
was
was
the second to last, like lowest franchise. So like they
wow.
ranked everybody, and they were like second to last. And so since then, we've been able to start racking up and going through the rankings, which has been great.
Yeah.
And then overall, the customer satisfaction scores have been going up pretty steadily as well, which has been good.
So this was like a mom and pop,
Mhm.
couple and their adult son and wife and whatever it was, like running this thing.
Yeah.
You bought it from them, got them out of there, converted the rooms
Mhm.
into money makers there.
Yep.
What does management look like now? Have you,
Yeah.
what do you got for staff now?
Yeah, so we have about 12 people employed.
Wow. Yeah.
Two of them are a manager and assistant general manager. So we have a full-time general manager, he's on salary, and we have an assistant general manager who's also on salary.
Mhm.
Both of them have some bonus structures in place based upon property performance metrics.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have some front desk staff, probably have 4 or 5 there, and then we have about 4 5 housekeepers and a laundry staff member. So one person
Very.
who just does laundry all day
Wow. Yeah. No, it makes sense.
and a maintenance person
And yeah, and these four were trying to do all of that stuff on their own. No
on their own.
wonder,
And
no
we have
wonder it was
12
going to
people.
crap.
It's like, it's crazy, especially like, it really comes into play during the summer when you have 62 rooms to clean in a
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we've only done a handful of what we call a full turn, but it'll happen sometimes where you'll have every single room checking out, and then
Yeah.
every single room or a good chunk of those rooms checking in the next day. And so you really have to get in there, clean it all out. We've even had at some points hired temp workers to come in and boost our staff for just that one day, just
Mhm.
to get things
Yeah.
done.
Just give them a little breathing room.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, Micah. So you've had a crash course in hotel investing and management and
Yeah.
capital raising
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything. And I can see why it would be so important and so valuable to bring on a partner like your partner that's got all that experience in there, not just hire them as management, but bring them on for a piece of equity
Yep.
in the deal. Because those little hinges, I'm sure, have been able to move really, really big doors. What have
100%.
been some of the big surprises you as a smart guy who was never involved in hotel businesses before, but like
Mhm.
what have been like these light bulb moments that have come up to you through
Yeah,
the
definitely.
process?
So one of the things that happened the week that we close is discovering bed bugs. And
Ooh,
so we did not do a thorough enough pest inspection of the property,
yeah.
which in real estate and buying apartment buildings, that's not really a thing. Like you'll have like an inspector walk through, but they're not really looking for bed bugs.
More like termites, right?
Yeah,
Not so much.
termites. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
more structural things with the property,
yeah,
but we had bed bugs in the mattresses, and so we had
yeah.
to shut down the whole property. And
Fumigate the whole thing.
we had to fumigate the entire building. So we had the entire building sprayed, and then the rooms that we had found bugs in, we heat treated as well. But man, that was a big learning curve of like, okay, well, next time we buy a hotel, we got to put this on the inspection list and check this off. So that definitely is a big one. And then dealing with how to properly deal with staff and management. So we had hired a general manager who kind of oversold her ability and got overwhelmed very quickly and ended up quitting last minute.
Oh God.
So we get a text 6:30 in the morning saying, you know what, I'm done. And she
I
had
won't
a
be
shift, that day. And so I went and drove up and I ran the hotel for 2 months
two
while we
months.
yeah, so
Wow.
it was the process of finding and hiring the next person. It ended up being 2 months.
No wonder you sound so knowledgeable about running a hotel. You did
I
it hands on,
I
man.
drove up to the property, walked behind the front desk, and there's a customer standing right there. And I'm like, well, this is the first time I've used this booking software, and I just had to figure it out to get them checked in. But definitely, I'd say a skill set of mine is just being able to figure it out. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you get thrown a curveball, and you got to deal with it. And
Yeah.
if you are the owner of the business, you can't just say no. You got to figure it out. And that's definitely a lesson that I learned is that I am I'm the final line of defense,
Yeah.
and there's just no saying no. You got to figure it out. You got to make it happen.
All right. So when like at what point right now we're recording this, we're
Mhm.
in August of 2024.
Yeah,
At what point were you kind of okay, we're ready to launch the new and improved hotel? When did that start? When did that happen? Or is
it
it
was
still in
probably
progress?
no, it was probably about 2 months ago. Is
Two
when
months ago.
we had a period of time where when we started renovating, we shut down one floor at a time, and it's a two-story hotel. And
Got it.
so around it was mid to late February, we shut down half the hotel, renovated it, opened it back up, and then shut down the other half of the hotel and started renovating it. And so we got fully opened probably around April, May, fully back up and operational. And then we actually just had a month ago, we had a ribbon cutting party with the local chamber of commerce, got
Oh,
an
nice.
article in the newspaper, and really
Yeah.
trying to push to people, letting them know that we are a brand new property. No
Under
more.
new management.
Yeah, under we actually have a big banner on the side of the
Yeah.
building that says under new management. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely things like that. Experiencing some print marketing, the sense of we're gonna print out a huge freaking banner, throw it on the side of the building under new management. Redoing the parking lot. We're working on painting we got some pillars that are orange. We're gonna paint them blue. Like again, anything we can do to like encourage the fact that we are a new property and people can come try us again. One of the concerns we have is people coming previously having a bad experience and be
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not never going to stay at that crap hole again. You know,
Exactly.
so we need to overcome the bad negative stereotypes this property has now.
Oh, most definitely. No.
Yeah.
So were you able to get it at a bit of a discount or
Mhm.
not really?
Yeah, we definitely got it a bit of discount. So for those familiar with commercial real estate, you purchase based upon cap rates. And
Yeah.
so that's the same thing with hotels.
Mm.
But, with apartment buildings, as most of your audience may know, is that your cap rate will vary anywhere from like 4 or 5% all the way up to like 8%. That's just like the whole range. But, if you're buying an 8 cap, it's going to be a rough property.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For hotels, that range starts at about 6% and goes all the way up to like 14%, being your like really crap hole properties.
Yeah.
And ours, we bought it at a 13.5 cap. So kind of right on the cusp,
Yeah.
based
Right
upon
on.
last year's
Very,
numbers. But yeah,
very
definitely.
cool.
We we got a decent discount. Hindsight 2020 probably should have gotten a better discount, but here we are.
Yeah, at
We're
least
alive.
get them to deal with the bed bugs first,
Yeah,
huh?
exactly. We did get
Oh,
them to pay for a new roof, so we
oh,
got
that's
that.
huge.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
big. So now that things are kind of 2 months in, I know it's early days still with
Yeah.
stabilization and everything, but what do you anticipate conservatively you'll see the bump going up to over the next 12 months?
So yeah, we've already started increasing those rates.
Yeah.
And so one of the issues we have had is getting back up to the performance of the previous year and trying to maintain. One of the unfortunate things is that they had a couple of well-timed contracts. Essentially, they had some construction crews in town living the property. This is stuff we don't find out until after we close on the property.
Yeah.
But they had a construction company who booked out a good number of rooms for the vast majority of the year. And so now when we bought the property, and especially when we were renovating, we had a very low winter, to say the very least. And so now we're
Okay.
getting ourselves back up to the performance of that previous year, hitting that 11% cash on cash. And that's been our main goal. But at this point, we're kind of right neck and neck with what it was previously performing. And
Cool.
which a couple months later after opening, which is great.
Yeah.
Now, almost a year later, because we closed last August. So it's about a
Yeah.
year of ownership at this point. But so we have definitely been seeing the progress come up and up. We've been getting a lot of really positive reviews. And
Yeah.
so our general overall scores are increasing. We're at 4 stars at most of the OTAs except for Google.
Mhm.
OTA would mean online booking platform. So your
Right.
booking.com, Expedia, things like that. And so those online travel agencies, we've been able to increase our bookings on those or increase our ratings on those platforms.
So as we're wrapping things up here, Micah, if somebody's going, okay, sounds interesting,
Mhm.
based on your significant experience now in single family homes, multifamily properties, and now the hotel,
Mhm.
what advice would you have to somebody who's kind of
Yeah.
starting to tiptoe around the idea of looking at hotels?
So if you don't have a solid management experience, like we have my partner Mike with
But
25
you
years
you
of
did you
experience.
didn't have them when you started, like
Yeah, we didn't have it until after we had been under contract for a while.
yeah, okay,
So first thing, you definitely need to look at that star report that I mentioned. Make sure that there's a good deficit. So make sure you have somewhere to go.
yeah,
You're not gonna do well if you think you're gonna go beat the market. It's best to bet on at least meeting the market. And
got
so
it.
if there's not a margin there to gain, or there's not some obvious major expenses, I would say don't go for that deal. But if you're going to go for a bigger property, you definitely need to make sure that you have someone on your team that has that experience. And if not, that's totally fine. Just aim for like a 10 unit hotel or something like that.
Start
There's
smaller.
a lot of people who take the Airbnb approach on those smaller properties and are doing really, really well where they'll automate everything.
Yeah, the
And then they
boutique
can end
hotel
up,
idea.
oh yeah, the boutique hotel. And those
Yeah,
do really, really well. And so I would highly recommend if you don't have hotel experience, you can do that. But hey, if you've been working at it as a front desk person or assistant general manager at a hotel for the past 5, 10 years, I'd say definitely go for it, because you have an unfair advantage on being able to understand what it really takes to run a property like that.
Very cool. Now, the other question somebody like that might be thinking is, sounds good, Micah, but I don't have a couple $1,000,000 lying around to buy one of these suckers.
Yeah.
Any tips on raising capital for a hotel?
Yeah. Raising capital is always it's kind of the same story anywhere you go, where you're always raising capital. You're always having those conversations with people, reach
Yeah.
out to your personal network, and then go beyond that, always asking for referrals. One of the things people looked for a lot when it came to the hotel market was, we had the management experience. That was huge.
Yeah.
The deal would not have happened. And actually, the SBA loan would not have happened if we did not have a track record of that experience. There's a little bit of that in apartments where people, lenders want to see that experience. In hotels, it's even more so. And then on top of that, with the franchise wants to see that experience.
Right.
So if you're going to go for a bigger property, you need to have the backing of an experienced person on your team who's been in the hotel industry. And then the higher up on the brand scale that you go, the more that requirement is.
Yeah.
That they definitely weight it even heavier as you go to like a Marriott brand, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. Micah, thank you very much for sharing your insights and your experience on this hotel journey. If people are watching this and they want to connect with you, what can they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, you just go reach out to me on my Instagram at Micah Haworth, MICAHHAWORTH. That's probably the most direct way. If not, you have LinkedIn. And then we have our website, northernlightshospitality.com.
Fantastic. Well, hey, keep up the good work, and can't wait to hear about more hotels and businesses coming into the fold.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.